Hello everyone, week 8, and we will have entry strategy and strategic alliances. So we talk about international business and the international trade theory and see how this works in practice. So objectives: explain 3 basic decisions that a firm needs to be considered before taking a foreign investment. Compare and contrast different modes the firm used to enter a foreign market. Identify the factors which influence firm choice of entry mode. So we will see different entry modes, so identify the factors. So what are the basic decisions of firms make when they will expand globally? They need to decide on which market to enter, when to enter, and on what scale. The whole country penetration, or region penetration, or just a town penetration. Which entry mode to use. So we have exporting. You can sell your goods directly to another country. You can have licensing or franchising to a company in the host nation. So Starbucks is the case, or Costa Coffees. These are all the franchises. McDonald's, KFC, you can think about. They are all same concept. They franchise license out the business model and another contractor carries out for you. Or you can find a local company and you can have a joint venture with them. You can establish a wholly new own subsidiary for your sake, or you can acquire, you can take over the established enterprise. So what influences the choice of entry mode? We have several factors which affect it. First one, transportation cost. If it is cost too much to transfer your goods, yes, it is more effective to have a production plant on that country. The barriers, trade regulations, the political risk that country has. If it is too risky, you will avoid it. If it is not, it's politically stable, yes, you will be more willing to set up a branch in another nation. The economic risk, the cost. Firm strategy, would you like to expand globally, and will you prefer to be a local player or regional player? So the optimal mode varies by the situation. What makes sense for one company might not make sense for another one, so they need to think globally and locally, or they will prefer and find tailor-made solutions. So which foreign market should firms enter? The choice of market will depend on their long-run profit potential. As we can guess, if you're doing business, you need to earn some profit. So favorable markets are politically stable, as we already talked. Have free market system, less regulation and less government intervention. They need to have relatively low inflation rates, so the prices might not go up and up every week. They also need to have low private sector debt, so they will become more willing, be favorable to get in. So when should a firm enter the foreign market? Should they be too quick or too late? Let's see about it. So one attractive market you find out, then you need to consider the timing. Entry is early when the firm enters foreign market before other firms. So you need to decide where you need to be first or last or second. So entry is late when the firm enters the market after firms which the others already established themselves in the market. They got recognition, they got transportation network, they got production facilities. So will you become able to beat them all, compete them all, and become successful? So we have first mover advantage. This is the advantage of when you are first in the market. So you have the ability preempt rivals by establishing a strong brand name. So everyone in the market, in the country, knows about you. So even there are somebody else comes after you as a company, they will prefer you as you already be famous there, recognized there. You have ability to build up sales volume and write down the experience curve ahead of rivals and gain a cost advantage over later entrants. And also, you will have the ability to create switching costs that tie customers into products or services, making it difficult for later entrants to win business. So make them become loyal to you make them more difficult to switch you, then you will be the choice they will make. But what about if you are latecomer? So you have pioneering cost. So as a first mover disadvantage, you have pioneering cost. This is the cost when the foreign business is so different, so that in the home market you need to devote considerable time, effort and expense to learn the rules of the game. So the cost of business failure if the firm, due to ignorance of foreign environment, make some big mistakes. Also, you have the cost of promoting and establish a product offering, including the cost of educating customers. So this will be done by another firm if you are a latecomer. So there are 6 different ways to enter a foreign market. First one is exporting. So it's a common step for many firms, but later on you can change your method. You have turnkey projects. So you have a contractor there which handles every detail of the project for a foreign client, including the training of the operating personnel. So even the personnel is operated and trained by a local contractor. So when you complete your contract, you have the key to plant and ready for full operation. Everything is set up by another contractor, and you just get in there, start your business. You have licensing, so you have licensor grants the rights of intangible property, the fees, so the royalty fee, patents, intervention, formulas, processes, designs, copyrights, trademarks is all licensed, so you are free to sell your product or services. And also, we already talked about franchising. This is when you have a licensing within the franchisor, is not only sells the intangible property, but also you have agreed on both sides that your product will be sold by that franchisee, and the service style, the business style, the operation style, even the resources they will use will be supplied by you under agreement, and probably most likely they will pay for your services. So we have joint ventures with a host country firm. So when a firm joins within a local or couple more domestic firms and they have cooperation there, most of the time if there is 2 firms, there is 50-50 partnerships. Or you can, as we talked before, have a wholly owned subsidiary. So you own 100% all of the shares and you decide to set up new operation. Or you can acquire an already established firm. So let's have another video which will summarize up all what we discussed.
When organizations enter foreign markets, they make decisions about what kind of marketing and organizational setup to choose. As marketers, we talk about making decisions about an organization's entry mode. However, before we start, let us list the learning goals for this video. Firstly, the goal is to understand what an entry mode decision is and how it's connected to the rest of the internationalization process. Secondly, why this decision is important. And subsequently, how we can go about making an informed choice by looking at some of the factors that influence our decision. We will also provide an overview of the different entry modes available for us to choose between. So let us begin. So how is the entry mode decision connected to the rest of the internationalization process? When an organization goes from marketing their products and services only on their home market to also target one or several foreign markets in different countries or regions, we talk about an organization's internationalization process. The internationalization process starts with the choice of which foreign markets to target. We call this the market selection process. Ultimately, we will define our marketing mix, the 4 or the 7 Ps, for the foreign market. The marketing mix we use on the foreign markets may vary to the one we use on the home market. We would address issues regarding standardization and/or adaptation of the marketing mix. However, Before deciding on the marketing mix, we need to address how to organize our entry to the foreign market. We discuss which entry mode to use, and many factors will influence our decision. Choice of entry mode is what we will address in this video. So why is choice of entry mode important, and how can we go about making the right choice? Let us use an example. This French business, located just outside of Paris, produces French cakes and desserts. In these modern production facilities, well-educated confectioners develop recipes and create delicious cakes and desserts ready to be sold and distributed to cake-loving customers. The cakes and desserts are frozen immediately after production and are then distributed to a variety of catering companies, restaurants and cafes around France. So what might impact French Cake's choice of entry mode to a foreign market? French Cake's internal situation will have an impact. Some external factors about the particular country, region and market of choice will influence that decision. Some conditions related to possible outsourcing of activities are addressed in transaction-specific factors. And finally, French Cake's preferences for the different characteristics of the various entry modes will also affect their choice. As we will address these 4 sets of factors for French Cakes, we will use this visual to indicate in which direction the different factors are pointing us. Some factors might indicate a move towards internalization. In other words, that using a hierarchical mode is appropriate. Other factors might indicate that a move towards externalization, using an export mode, is more suitable. And some may indicate a more moderate approach, and thereby point in the direction of an intermediate mode. So let us apply this visual to our example with French Cakes, as we address the 4 sets of factors. French Cakes have set their eyes on the UK, and their initial idea is to enter the country by setting up a sales and production subsidiary in the UK. The characteristics of hierarchical modes are: high setup costs. A production site and sales force carry a large investment. High risk, as there is no guarantee that the initial large investment will pay off. A low level of flexibility, as the large investment will make it difficult to quickly pull the plug on the UK adventure should business not prove to be as successful as hoped. A high level of control, as French Cakes would hold on to complete ownership of all value chain activities, being in the position to make all decisions about target groups, distribution channels, and so forth. Let us address the first set of factors, the internal factors. Let us use this visual as we evaluate French Cake's internal factors, and let us see if this will indicate a move towards internalization, as French Cakes are considering. French Cakes is a small company. Their resource availability is low, and therefore a large investment would be risky. They have no international experience. Making use of an external partner's expertise might prove advantageous. The cakes and desserts are not technically complex. And although their cakes and desserts are good, French Cakes doesn't carry a large product differentiation advantage in terms of, for example, brand image. An evaluation of French Cakes' internal factors has revealed an indication towards externalization, and not towards internalization as French Cakes initially suggested. French Cakes also has another suggestion. Meet Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson is a UK-based agent. He would be happy to represent French Cakes and sell their products to appropriate intermediaries around the UK. Using Mr. Thompson would be using a direct export mode. The characteristics of export modes are: low costs, as French Cakes would not need to set up any facilities, start production or hire staff. Low risk, as the investment is low, French Cakes will not be taking a great risk with this setup. A high level of flexibility, as the ties to the UK market will be limited, it would be fairly easy to pull the plug on the UK adventure should business not prove to be as successful as hoped. But also a low level of control. French Cakes will have little control of how Mr. Thompson markets and sells their cakes and desserts. Will he choose appropriate sales channels? Might he favor possible competitors due to a more advantageous commission rate? And will he miss opportunities that French Cakes would have been able to take advantage of if they had had their own sales staff in the UK? Let us address the second set of factors, the external factors. These are factors that address the foreign market of interest, in our case the UK market for cakes and desserts. Let us use the same visual as before as we evaluate the UK market for French cakes, and see if they indicate a move towards French Cakes' second suggestion of using an agent. Although the UK is geographically close to France, research will tell us that the socio-cultural distance is considerable. This would indicate that having a partner with local knowledge could prove to bridge this gap. French Cakes have researched the UK market and concluded that the market is of a decent size and that it is growing at a moderate pace. Currently, there are no trade barriers standing in the way of exporting goods to the UK. French Cakes have discovered that the competition is intense. This would add to the level of risk should they wish to use a hierarchical mode. Therefore, this indicates a move towards externalization. Research has also shown that there are a large number of relevant intermediaries available. Mr. Thompson is just one of many options in this field. Although the market has experienced growth, Brexit is believed to cause some general instability and uncertainty in the market. So, an evaluation of the external factors has also revealed an indication towards externalization. This supports French Cakes' second suggestion of using an agent. French Cakes are still considering both options. 1. A sales and production subsidiary, and 2. An agent. The decision isn't made until a thorough investigation of all 4 sets of factors have been carried out. Some factors might prove to be a showstopper, making other factors less important when making the final decision. So let us move on to the third set of factors, the transaction-specific factors. These address to what extent outsourcing, i.e. using an independent partner to carry out certain functions, is advantageous and safe. Let us use the same visual as before as we evaluate and see if they indicate a move towards French Cakes' first or second suggestion. The know-how and product benefits connected with the cakes and desserts are not considered difficult to transfer and explain to an independent partner. French Cakes consider it unlikely that an independent partner will show opportunistic behavior. Marketing and selling their cakes and desserts will not reveal secret recipes. So, an evaluation of the transaction-specific factors has also revealed an indication towards externalization. Let us move on to the fourth and final set of factors, the desired mode characteristics. We will evaluate French Cakes' wishes in terms of the main characteristics of the different types of entry modes. French Cakes have expressed that they can't afford to be too risky. They have no desire to be in complete control of the operation. They see the UK adventure more as a first and trial and error step in their internationalization process. Therefore, they are also very keen on a high level of flexibility, so that they are able to pull the plug on their UK adventure should business not prove to be as successful as hoped. An evaluation of these and the other 3 sets of factors indicate a move towards externalization, which support French Cakes' second option of using a UK agent, a direct export mode. Now we have evaluated 4 sets of factors that will influence French Cakes' decision of entry mode. We have addressed the internal factors, the external factors regarding the UK market, the factors evaluating outsourcing suitability, and which mode characteristics French Cakes desire. Conducting a systematic evaluation of all 4 sets of factors has enabled us to recommend a suitable entry mode for French Cakes. We have now established what an entry mode decision is and why we need to know about it. We have also gained knowledge of how to evaluate 4 sets of factors, which will help us decide on a suitable entry mode. and we have established the connection to the rest of the internationalization process. So let's move on. Organizations might choose one or a combination of different entry modes during their internationalization process to one or several foreign markets. The different entry modes will not be discussed in detail in this video, but let us just provide an overview. Export modes include direct export, cooperative export, and indirect export. Direct export is the mode we recommended for French cakes in the example used in this video. Intermediate entry modes include joint venture, strategic alliance, franchising, licensing, contract manufacturing, and management contracting. And finally, with the highest level of internalization, the hierarchical modes: transnational organization, region centers, sales and production subsidiaries, resident sales representative or subsidiary, and domestic-based sales representative. Sales and production subsidiary is the mode initially considered by French cakes in our example. In summary, we have now obtained an understanding of the what, why, and how of entry mode decision. And finally, we have provided an overview of the different types of entry modes. Do you want to learn more about entry mode decision making, market entry strategies, and each of the different entry modes, the internationalization process, and global marketing in general? I recommend that you read Global Marketing, 7th edition by Svend Hollensen. My name is Tina Wade. Thank you for watching.
So everyone, we look at how you can enter a different market. We have 6 different forms, 6 different ways. We need to make some decisions about whether the market is safe enough, whether the economic situation is good there, what is the restriction about the trade. And when these are considered, we need to remember that each company, each business will have different strategy according to their decision, for their decisions. So in case if you have any questions, feel free to ask or send me a message on the portal, or feel free to send any email.